I did not have a background in Korea. Like, hi guys, how are you? We know that we have been a bit MIA. We have not been posting too many videos recently and stuff like that. But some of you may have read my community post or also through my Instagram page figured it out that I have actually started my own DIY page on Instagram. I will also be launching a YouTube channel for that very soon. So I've been keeping very busy with that, and this is something that I really wanted to do, and so I feel like it is going to take a lot of my time nowadays, and also because I have a toddler, it's not like I have a lot of time on hands. So we are going to reduce the number of videos we put out every week, or we are still going to try and put out 2 videos in a week. And so yeah, I'm sorry about that. And by the way, this background and everything is because of my DIY page. I will be making my DIY videos and stuff like that, so I wanted to create a space where I can do all of that without being disturbed. And I wanted a super cool background where I basically put out my DIYs, and this is like my embroidery frame right over here. This is something that I made very recently, a fabric frame sort of thing. And this shelf, of course, I didn't make. I cannot do welding, but yeah, so this frame, this sort of shelf is right over here, and this pot holder is something that I made from crochet. So yeah, I'm going to put out the stuff over here that I will be making throughout through this phase. And yeah, so this is that setup, and I'm just sitting here, and I thought I'll make my video over here because this video is mostly my information. I don't need Gunwoo or Youngjai to be in this video with me. So yeah, there you go. So as you've read in the thumbnail, this video is basically about my story and how I went to Korea. And some of you had asked me about this, and yeah, so I thought I'll just share my experience about it and how I reached Korea and things like that. So I went to Korea in 2008, and just to give you a background, I did not have a background in Korea. Like, I had nothing. Like, I went to I did English literature from DU, Jesus Mary College, and then I went to JNU to pursue my masters in IR. And until I went to JNU, I had never met a Korean in my life. Like, I had never ever met a Korean in my life. And but in JNU, I met Gunwoo, and we started dating and stuff like that. And that is when like my interest for Korea grew, and I got to know a lot about Korea, like food and everything. But I never learned the language. Like, I couldn't learn the language from my boyfriend, and he was able to converse in English by then, so it was never a problem. So I never took so much interest in learning the language. And so this is one of the reasons I wanted to put this video out there, because a lot of people don't know the language but are still interested in Korea and are looking for ways to, like some people had left comments about this, that they're interested in going to Korea but they don't know the language and things like that. So this video is probably going to be more interesting for them. And yeah, so I didn't know the language, and in my masters, in the second year, like, I was thinking about what I want to do ahead, and I was not really sure. I was one of those kids who really didn't know. Like, I went from DU to JNU, and I got through these good universities, and I guess my aim at that point of time was just to get through a better university kind of thing. But I was not really sure about what I wanted to do in life. And especially after doing IR, like, a lot of people are either interested in civil services, joining the UN, or joining some other kind of NGO work and stuff like that. And I was more keen on the UN and the NGO thing. But then I met Gunwoo, and I became a bit curious about Korea. And then I was a free flow soul, so for me it was like, okay, I can give it a try learning more about Korea. So in my last semester, I did take a course on Korean area studies. It was just like one course out of many courses that I was doing in IR. And by the 4th semester, you can choose like some countries that you want to study about. So I had taken a course in China, and I had taken a course on Korea. So I was like more keen on learning about East Asia, and that did interest me. It's not like I was not interested. Like, it was an eye-opener for me. and so everything happens in your life for a certain reason, you know. So anyhow, so that's how my interest in East Asian studies grew, and then I audited a course on Korea, and then you know, one day I was just like actually sitting with Gunwoo, we were eating lunch or something, and then this friend of mine, a Mongolian friend, she met me and she was like, you know, you can apply, there is a notice on the Korean language, on the, sorry, in the language school for a scholarship to Korea by POSCO, why don't you go and check it out? And we immediately went to check that information. And then I was like, why not? Let me just give it a try, you know. And again, you know, I come from a background, like even my family was very supportive about all these things. Like my dad was like, you know, it's your choice. As long as you can go abroad on a scholarship, I don't care where you go. And so yeah, I went ahead and I applied for the scholarship. And finally, I had my interview and I was selected for the interview, and the other people that I met during the interview actually all came from a Korean language background. And so I was a bit nervous about whether I will even get the scholarship. But I remember during the interview, they asked me that you don't know the language, how are you going to manage it out there? And then I was like, you know, I mean, language is something that I can always learn. It's not something that you can't pick up at a later stage. And a lot of people pick up languages at a much later stage in their life. And they were on board with that. Like, I remember even they, one of them mentioned, one of the interviewees mentioned that, yeah, you can always pick up the language once you go to the country. And I had a background, you know, like I had always lived away from my parents. I went to a boarding school, and then I was studying in DU and JNU in Delhi all by myself. I was living all by myself. So it's not like I did not have the confidence to try and go to a new place and start over again. So yeah, and I eventually got the scholarship, and it is all thanks to the POSCO scholarship that I eventually went to Korea. And I actually yeah, I also want to mention that this video is not just going to be about how I went to Korea, but also about how I lived in Korea, like, you know, how I made friends and things like that. So because we are moving to that part, I just wanted to mention it. I was supposed to mention it in the beginning, but I forgot. Anyhow, so yeah, I got the scholarship and I got admission in Youngjai University, and it was a good scholarship. I mean, like, a lot of people have gotten POSCO scholarship from India, and by the way, POSCO scholarship is not the only scholarship. I didn't know about it, but there are government scholarships. There was a Korean government scholarship, and I think the notice at that point of time used to come on the HRD ministry's page. I don't know what is the procedure even for POSCO or the government scholarships right now, but there are many government scholarships for Indian students for all the countries, not just Korea, like many developed countries, and Korea is of course one of them. And you can, and I didn't know about the government scholarships, so I didn't apply for that. But later on I did get to know about it, so this is also another option. And I think there are many other companies also who provide scholarship. I believe Samsung also, Lotte also. I don't know how you can search for that, frankly, but I know people who have gotten these scholarships. But yeah, that option is also there. And yeah, so I got admission in Yonsei University in Korea. And guys, now when I got through Yonsei University, I was the only Indian students in the international school who got admission in the master's program. And other than me, there was only one Indian girl who was actually doing her PhD there, wherein a lot of Indians who got the POSCO scholarship with me, including the Korean government scholarship, all went to Korea University. So I don't know how they decided on that. And I had applied for Korean area studies, by the way, in Yonsei. A lot of people go and do their MBA in because they already have a background in Korean area studies and Korean language and stuff. So a lot of them go and do an MBA, pursue an MBA from Korea. But I pursued Korean area studies because that was like something that I didn't know. I didn't know the language, and I still didn't know a lot about Korea. I had only audited one course in Korea that was only going to be for one semester. So yeah, there was a lot to learn. And Yeah, and I was super nervous about that. Like, I didn't know this until I met few of them who had applied for the scholarship, and I asked them, and they all got through Korea University. So, and Korea University is a bit far from Yonsei University, they're not close together. So anyhow, and I actually didn't know anyone in Korea other than Gunwoo and some of his friends. I didn't know any Indian in Korea. I only knew Koreans in Korea, and I was super nervous. So I went to Korea, and of course, first few days in the university was super nerve-wracking because it's not only a new country, it's a different language. Although in international school, most students know English, and the medium of education is also English, so it was not that bad. And a lot of foreign students were there, and yeah, but of course, you know, it's you don't know anyone, so you are of course nervous. Like I didn't know anyone, and so in Korea, what happens is that you have this thing called MT. I don't know if it still happens, but yeah, this is a very popular thing. You must have heard about it in a lot of dramas also. So universities have this thing called MT, which takes place at every beginning of every new year, new session basically, and I chose to go for that. And a lot of people skip that also because, again, for the same reasons, that they don't know anyone, it's very uncomfortable, nobody wants to get out of their comfort zone and stuff like that. And it was something that I did because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and probably thought that would be a good way to make some friends. And by the way, it did work. I mean, I went for MT, and that is when I started making some Korean friends. I got to know my classmates. I made many foreign friends, Korean American friends, and you know, people from all countries. And although, you know, still the experience was very nerve-wracking for me. Like I went for the MT, did the whole thing, but the whole time I was not like the most comfortable over there. And when I came back and I spoke to Gunwoo, I actually cried on the phone, and he got really nervous because of that. And I was like, you know, I don't know how am I going to make friends over here, how am I going to adjust, you're not, because he was going to join the military, and I was like, how am I going to, you know, adjust and everything like that. I was super nervous, but Gunwoo was not in Seoul at that time, and Youngjai is in Seoul, and Gunwoo was not in Seoul at that point of time. He was in the process of joining in his military, so I was not going to meet him for the next 2 months at all. But his very good friend who had also studied in India was there, my oppa, who is no longer with us. He was the sweetest person I knew. You know, I've seen a lot of videos where I've heard people saying that they've not been able to make friends with you know, Koreans, and it has been hard for them. But he was one person that you could easily be friends. He was so funny, he was so caring, he took care of me. I remember when I came back, he took me out for lunch, and he bought me an ice cream, and he treated me like his younger sister. And yeah, so he was there for me at that point of time. And then, you know, the session began, and I started going to the university every day. And guys, everything happens for a reason. When I lived in Korea for 2 years, I actually didn't make any Indian friend other than one who I met when I started working, and he became a really good friend of mine. And I felt like at that point of time I was judged. I don't know, but my Indian friend also told me, I felt like I was judged a lot about the fact that I was not hanging around with other Indians. And at that point of time, it affected me a little, but I still didn't try. I didn't want to, you know, what happened was that because I went to the university where there's, at least the school where there were no other Indians, there were other Indians in other schools, but I didn't come across them. You know, it's a different kind of atmosphere. You just go to your school, and you know, and international school was anyways at one end of Yonsei University. So, and I made friends. Like, I made really good Korean friends, I made really good foreign friends, and I frankly didn't feel the need to meet an Indian. Like, I don't know why, but I didn't. And again, you know, I was not there for a very long period of time. I was there for 2.5 years, so I didn't feel the need. And I had good friends, and there was nothing that I was really missing, like, and yeah, and I feel like today at this point of time, I'm 35, I really don't care. I'm very happy about my experience. I'm very glad that I made friends like who are not Indians, because I can always make Indian friends. I already have a lot of Indian friends, and yeah. So, and I'm just saying this out there because a lot of people do judge this thing that, oh, she only hangs out with foreigners and not Indians. But to be very frank, I have met a lot of Koreans also and a lot of Indians also who have gone abroad and only mingled with other Indians. And I know it's hard to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you are not even put in a situation like I was. Like, I felt like I was put in a situation where I had no choice. And it helped me get out of my comfort zone. But yeah, I feel like, please guys, just go and try. Like, I feel you will regret it. Like, at some point of time in your life, you will regret that you didn't do that. I met even Koreans who lived in Canada and US for many years. They'd gone there to learn English or for their high school and stuff like that, and didn't make any foreign friends over there. They only mingled with Koreans. There are all kinds of people. I mean, there are some people like me also. But yeah, so this is what I just want to put out there, that I feel like I was pushed into that zone, and one good place to is two ways to break the ice when it comes to Koreans or making foreign friends. One was the language school. So because I didn't know language at all, I had to take languages at the Youngjai's Korean language school. And in the first semester, because none of us know the language at all, it is super fun. Like, the class is so much fun. Actually, first 2 semesters are so much fun. By the time you enter third semester, there are students like Korean Americans who already speak very good Korean with just short of writing and things like that. So they already know better than us. So there's nothing to really break the ice. In fact, you feel like, oh, I still don't know so much. But in the first 2 semesters, it's super easy. Everybody's just like you, and you make so many mistakes and you laugh. And I think I made the best of friends in my Korean language school, even though I was with them for like maybe only a semester, which was like around 4 months. But I think they were like in the initial days, they were my closest friends. And yeah, so, and another one is going out drinking. Korean, it's a culture out there. Everybody drinks. Even in school, we all go out and drink in the evening at some bar and things like that, and it helps. That helps in breaking the ice, and it did help. And yeah, eventually I had a lovely experience, and I made some great friends. And even though I didn't know the language, even though I did not have a background in Korea, and I went there, I got the admission. So if you're someone who thinks that you don't have a background in Korea, at some level you are interested. That's why you have that question, that I want to go to Korea, but I don't have this background. That means the interest is there. Nobody knows what you're going to do in future, and no one should care about that, because things can take a turn anytime in your life, and you could end up being someone who's not from the background but end up doing really well in Korea. Like this person called Lucky, I was listening to one of his videos on YouTube, and with his background, like the background he had and how he landed in Korea, and now is one of the most famous Indians in Korea. So you never know, how your life turns around. Even including for me, given my background, I could have done a PhD and things like that. That's something that was expected of me, but you never have to do what is expected of you, and you don't have to live in the box. You should explore. And I kept exploring, and now I make videos with my husband about our life, which is a mix of Indian and Korean. So I feel like I do some sort of thing related to Korea, most definitely. And I cook a lot of Korean food, and like in general, I am interested in what goes on in Korea in terms of business, politics, culture, education, everything. So yeah, it does not matter. Your life can turn around and things like that. And don't fear this, that oh, you will not get the scholarship because you don't have a background. I was one of them. I got the scholarship. I stayed there for 2 years. I had an absolutely good experience in my university in Korea. I had a very good experience even with the scholarship, the way POSCO, they used to organize these programs for us. where they showed us the steel factory and things like that. It was, I think, once in a year kind of thing. They would also take us to some cultural sites and things like that. And so yeah, even they were very supportive. And then there are many other programs and many other things that you can do. I think the video has already gone very long, and I've just poured my heart. I don't even know from where I started and where I'm ending. But at the end of the day, I've already mentioned, don't fear, just go ahead and apply for the scholarships, and you can always get some sort of language certificate or anything, from the Korean Cultural Center. Korean Cultural Center is currently running a free program kind of thing in terms of language, so go check that out. It's online, and anyways, your interest in Korean entertainment and stuff is also good enough. And yeah, and most important, if you're going to Korea, please make friends with Koreans. Make friends with people from other nationalities too. You are going to benefit from this at a later stage. Don't let anyone judge you. Even if they judge you, don't care. Just go ahead. Like, I've gone through a phase where I felt I was being judged, but I still listened to my heart and continued what I did. And I'm very grateful for the friends that I have. Until today, when I go back, I have my friends over there. I have my friends in all over the world because of that one experience in Korea. So yeah, please get out of your comfort zone and just go ahead and do it. And if you have any other questions regarding anything related to how I went to Korea that I probably have missed out because it's been a long time, please leave them in the comments below and I will answer them. And please go ahead and check out my DIY with Kadambari page on Instagram also. If you like it, then follow, and I will be sharing some really good DIYs over there. And yeah, other than that, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those who are new, I should have mentioned in the beginning, but those who are new, we put up daily vlogs. It's not daily anymore, but a vlog in a week nowadays. And we will be vlogging tomorrow. Today is Saturday. We will be vlogging tomorrow, that is Sunday, showing you what we do on weekends these days with Youngjai. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day and see you in the next video.